Peace, what's going down? It's DJ Pain1 for BeatStars.com, and I'm going to share my opinion on a question that people have been asking me for a long time, and that question is, how much should I charge for beats? First of all, what I'm not going to do is pretend that there's some kind of rule or that I want to implement a minimum and a maximum. I probably do. If I really gave it some thought, I could come up with a formula, but no one wants to hear that. Now, I'm of the opinion that minimum wage, at least in the United States, should be $15 an hour, especially when you consider that's still under $30,000 a year before taxes for a full-time job. Producing for me is a full-time job. I don't get paid an hourly rate though, I get paid per beat. Now those prices vary, of course. If you're working with an unsigned artist, you're working with an independent artist, or you're working with an independent or unsigned artist with a budget, or a major artist with a major budget, or a major artist with a moderate budget, we'll say. But for the sake of argument, let's go with $15 an hour. And also for the sake of argument, let's say the average beat takes about 3 to 4 hours to make. Let's go 3 just for the sake of argument. That's $45. Now, are you charging $45 for full ownership to the beat, or are you charging $45 for a lease? You have to take into account your experience level, your talent level. You have to take into account the value that you as a producer, as a brand, what does your brand identity contribute to the song? Now, there might be some rappers watching kind of getting uncomfortable, but check this out. If a rapper purchases a beat for $45, they get that money back even when you take into account iTunes commission if you sell only 65 copies online. Or you could play one show for which you're getting paid $50 and automatically you paid that beat off. Now, if you're not at the point as a rapper where you can get $50 for a show or sell 65 singles, that's fine. You just have a lot of work to do. Keep in mind that you're a small business, and most small businesses don't turn a profit for a couple of years. They actually operate at a loss, which means you're losing money for some time. And that means that investing in yourself by purchasing beats is still important, because if you record to a beat that you don't have permission to sell and you go ahead and sell it on iTunes or even upload it to YouTube, publish it in any way, that could result in your entire project being removed from the internet, or worse, you could be sued. As I've said a whole bunch of times in other videos, producers, you don't have to be paid up front for every single beat. That's not what I'm saying. Sometimes you can enter into a joint venture with hardworking artists, and sometimes you use the barter system. So for example, you might trade a beat for a verse. That's fine, as long as it makes sense to you. Now just be aware of your worth and make choices that feel right for you. So to conclude, when you're setting beat prices for yourself, take into account how many hours you work, what you think is a fair rate per hour, take into account the value that your talent adds to the song, and take into account what your brand identity adds to the song as well. Set a price that makes sense for you and that you feel comfortable taking. Now it's time for you to join in the conversation. Leave a comment, let me know what you think the proper beat price is for, let's say, a new producer all the way up to a highly experienced and possibly famous producer. Appreciate you watching. I'm DJ Pain1. Peace.